In this video, I want to tell you certain tips that I use to manage screen time. So I've compiled a list of 10, and the first one is I, for example, have a habit of subscribing to channels because I want to reference a video later. For instance, if I need to reference an editing tutorial, and instead of subscribing to that channel when you don't even watch the rest of their videos, I recommend just saving that specific video into your watch later playlist. And since I've implemented this, it has saved me a lot of time by not having to unnecessarily scroll through videos that I'm not interested in watching to find one that I want to watch. I also make sure to stick to my subscription tab, or I will specifically type in what I'm looking for because I want to avoid being stuck on the home page. Another tip I have is to ask somebody before you Google something. And I often talk to my boyfriend, and when we want to think of something, we immediately want to ask our Google Home the question. But lately I've been saying, let's use our brains and try to figure out ourselves, because it's oftentimes things we know, we just are too lazy to remember. And it's been actually really fun to practice our critical thinking skills in that way. Another thing I've done was interrupted my habit of just grabbing my phone and opening various apps just to pass the time by, instead of opening the apps, I will replace that action with sending a meaningful text or an email. This way, it is a meaningful experience, and also I'll be less likely to open my phone because I will run out of people to send messages to. And this has helped me be way more self-aware without having to use an app blocker or something like that. My fourth tip is to work away from the screen as much as possible. And I know this isn't very common, but for me, for instance, I have the option to write a script digitally or via paper. And for me, it's way more productive to do it through paper because I will pursue any thought that I have while working just to escape the current tab I'm on or Word document. Working from paper will stop you from being able to immediately look up anything you want to, and you can also write down your thoughts on a separate piece of paper to Google them later if you feel the need to. The next tip I have is to delete any social media accounts that don't benefit you anymore. I had this experience with Instagram because after a couple years I just realized it isn't serving me anymore, so I think you should take some time to reflect on what social media apps are worth having. Another thing that I've been doing recently is anytime one of my animals comes up to me, I immediately put away my phone and pay attention to them because it's so easy to ignore those little moments, and before you know it, they might not be around anymore. And so I've been doing that not only with my animals but loved ones as well. Another tip is to spend activities in silence or with music. It is so easy to watch YouTube videos while doing certain things, but if you give yourself that time to be in silence, that allows you to reflect on your own life, and a lot of the times I'm most creative in silence. And another thing is music is actually proven to raise your serotonin levels and make you happier overall, whereas social media is actually associated with more depression. So another thing I want to say is you can take 24 hours away from all screens, which I did, and I know it's a little bit extreme, but I think it's worth trying at least once, because for me, I had no idea that I was in front of a screen so much until I did that. And my last tip is basically in relation to YouTubers. I felt so overwhelmed by having my YouTube channel mixed in with my leisure, and it felt like I was on YouTube all the time and I couldn't distinguish whether I was working or basically procrastinating. So I actually made a separate account that I only watch YouTube videos on, and this channel is strictly for work only. So that is all my tips that have helped me manage my screen time. Please let me know in the comments below if you have any that you'd like to share. And aside from that, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon.